Okay, so finally, chapter 3. Just a couple things I want to cover in here. There's some practical tips in here that I think are really good. This is Girls Amongst Girls. So this is talking about those friendships, some of that friendship stuff that's happening right now. I love anxious is the new shy. And I see this all the time. She gives a great example of some parents being overly concerned about social anxiety. But shyness is like gone. It's almost like you're not allowed to be shy. And I get a lot of girls that are introverts. And they have, maybe sometimes we classify it as social anxiety, but not really. As I start to press them a little bit more, they have friends. They may be slower to warm up, and she kind of categorizes some things in her book that are really good. And that slow to warm up child is probably the one that's shy and the one that you're worried about. But I can tell you, it doesn't mean that there's a problem. It just means some girls like to just be on the edge. They don't necessarily want to be in the middle of everything. They don't mind kind of sitting in the corner on the couch and watching what's going on. It doesn't bother them. So we want to be careful about diagnosing her as anxious if really she's just shy. I think that's a really important piece. And again, she gives some great examples about that. One thing that I've noticed over the years, and when she talked about this, I kind of chuckled, is the big friendship groups. If you're a daughter, and I see this starting in middle school, so you have the girls that just have 1 or 2 or 3 friends, but then you have the girls that are in the big groups of friends. And I have found that the girls that are in the big groups of friends, 1, tend to move more into the popularity group, and 2, have so much more drama. There are so many more issues with, I didn't get invited and so had a party and they didn't include me. When you only have like 1, 2, 3 friends, typically everybody's hanging out and you don't have those issues as much. It can still happen, but you don't have it as much. When you got groups of 5 or more, you're going to have people separate out of it. You're going to have cliques start to form. I've just always seen that girls that are parts of these bigger groups just have more drama. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad per se. It just means she's going to have more stress and there's going to be more things going on that she has to navigate and deal with. And if she's more extroverted, that's just going to be part of her journey. An introvert is not going to have like 50 friends. They're going to have 1, 2, or 3 friends. Somebody that's more extroverted is probably going to have a group of 5 or 10 friends. They're floating amongst a lot of different groups. So pay attention to that. She goes into, I'm not going to go into detail about that. She talks about kind of the bulldozer, the doormat with spikes and the pillar. I know you're like, what are you talking about? It's on page 76. But it's good, and I think it's a helpful framework for girls. It's language that you could use when you're talking to her about how to handle situations with people. Whether it's she is one of those 4 or the person that she's dealing with is one of those 4, and then how she can handle that. We kind of want her to be a pillar. We really don't want her to be the doormat. We don't want her to be the bulldozer, and we don't want her to be the doormat with spikes. We really want her to learn how to be a pillar, how to be strong, how to know when to say things, when not to say things. Because there can be just as much power in not saying something and not having a reaction. We want to teach her that. So this chapter also goes back into the technology discussion, which again, I'm not going to go into great detail on, but technology just adds a whole nother layer of tension, and especially with friends. Social media. So again, I'm going to do a whole talk on this separately, but for the sake of the book, I will say this. So you may think all the social media stuff is really stupid, and I get it. It's not part of our generation, but it is everything to them. It is a language in itself. It communicates so much more. So really, social media for a teen is about telling a story of themselves, and they talk about that in here. And I will tell you this, again, shameless plug, if you go out under the courses that are on the Raising Teen Girls website, there is a video that you can purchase. It's of me interviewing 2 teenage girls. If you buy the essentials, you automatically get that video in there. But I also wanted it, in case somebody didn't want the essentials, they could just buy this video. It is like 90 minutes. It's a long time. Of me talking to 2 teenage girls, kind of about life, kind of about some of the things that are going on. And we get into a really interesting discussion on social media and how girls are using social media. And it's exactly what Dr. Damore is talking about. And they, in that video, use the word branding. Believe it or not, they talk very in depth about how girls use social media as part of their brand. And so it is all about, if they're in a dating relationship, their brand looks different than if they are in a non-dating relationship. I learned all about this in there, and I hear it from clients, but this interview is phenomenal. You go in there, it's under courses. I think it's like $50. It is worth every dollar. I'm telling you, you will hear it straight from these teen girls. They were not coached. We talked totally off the fly. They were just very honest and open. Their parents, approved everything, gave permission, but they talked about the branding. And they talked about, I will not be photographed in certain places. I will not be photographed with certain people because it's all about my brand. And Dr. Damore talks about that as well in Girls Amongst Girls, this chapter 3. It's important to understand that and the psychology that's going on behind what's happening on social media. So much deeper than we think. And I mean, it's sad in a lot of ways that this is what we've come to, but it's where we're at. So far, I don't know about you, but I'm loving this book. That's kind of me wrapping chapter 3, but stick with it. I will give a little summary of the remaining ones, but would love to have you on the next call. It's listed in the Raising Teen Girls there. I believe it's in September. And then we'll talk about what the next book's going to be.